I let love, I let go, I release, and I know I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, I know. No need to push, no need to try, no need to worry or question why. Surrender, let go, release, and know.
Thousands of years ago, the Buddha taught you are what you think.
I am love. I am peace.
I am joy.
I am silly.
I am powerful.
So a modern philosopher coined the phrase that you are what you eat.
I am organic vanilla ice cream.
I'm chia seeds.
I'm a good, strong cup of coffee in the morning.
I am mac and cheese.
Today, like millions of my human sisters and brothers on planet Earth,
I'm becoming mindful about what I eat, what I think.
but lately I've been thinking about this.
I watch what I eat, but do I watch what I watch?
What about when I feed my mind, my heart, and my soul?
At Conscious Good, we believe you are what you watch.
You are what you watch.
Anytime you watch something that causes your soul to hurt, there's an impact.
So what's the answer?
At Conscious Good,
We think it's about feeding our minds the same way that we feed our bodies.
with nourishing choices.
After all, if media can have a negative influence on behavior, it can also have a positive one.
It's been proven that if we watch TV shows and videos about people helping others,
Cooperating and being generous.
It can actually influence us to be more altruistic and kind to one another.
Talk about paying it forward. So next time you sit down to watch your comfort movie,
consider how you will feel afterwards. Will you be happy and energized?
That's because maybe, just maybe,
What you watch.
Read
and listen to
matters.
I am what I watch, so I watch what I watch.
I am nourished.
I am inspired.
I am enlightened.
I am a celebration.
I am conscious.
I am conscious.
I am conscious.
I am good.
I am good.
I am good.
We
We
We are.
are.
We are.
We are conscious good.
Everyone wishes to live their best life. We experiment with various ways to achieve that, whether it is through study, competing, finding a partner, working hard, or admiring someone who inspires you. It is the quality of our inner being that does it all, or grapples with fulfilling life's calling. For the past 20 years, the Brahma Kumaris in Washington, D.C. has been a space for any and everyone to enter into and experience one's soul calling. From 1997 The center opened in an old rickety house on Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland, where cars and trucks that passed by would shake the space. But when you were inside, it was a peaceful and powerful sanctuary for all who visited. Since then, over 2,500 events, 17 city and nationwide initiatives, 21 awards, 2 meditation museums have served youths, senior citizens, entrepreneurs, scientists, authors, women, interfaith, the disabled, environment, small businesses, arts seekers, and even leaders. Millions of lives have been served, either through social media, the popular America Meditating radio show, or through exhibitions, lectures, partnerships, and programs held in the meditation museums and centers. We look at 20 years of service as a continued journey of love, courage, wisdom, and determination with friends from diverse backgrounds and thought who believe a better world is possible when we make ourselves better human beings. Meditation is an important tool that helps us to gain greater clarity, insights, and inner power so we can make healthy choices and amplify our capacity to live a full life. In times of great anxiety, insecurity, and fear, meditation is an essential practice for everyone to gain stability and inner strength. Just look at what a few dedicated, purposeful, and kind group of committed people have been able to achieve in 20 years. Thanks to everyone who supported us along the way. And thanks in advance to those who believe in our work and power of intent. Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museums, where peace is inside.
It's Karen Drucker coming to you from San Francisco, California, and I am here to say that I love watching The Next Normal with Sister Jenna. I get transformed, I am inspired, it's deep, it's wise, it's wonderful, just like her. I hope you're watching it too.
Karen, Om Shanti everyone, welcome to The Next Normal. I love our openings. I just love it. I love its flow, its simplicity. I love how Santosh has just been able to put it all together and make it so sweet. We were talking the other day how when we were at the meditation museums when they were opened, how we used to record about two programs a month, right, Santosh? It's about 2 programs a month. Yeah, so we used to do recording for 2 shows a month, and during the pandemic, we are now doing at least publicly 10 public programs a week at least, and that's not including all the other programs and meetings that we have beyond those particular times. Anyway, it's still wonderful. It's a new time. life is opening up for you and me, and we're changing by leaps and bounds, and we're looking at ourselves in ways that have been quite unique. Perhaps some of you are going pretty deep. Maybe some of you are still staying at the surface because you're not quite sure how to feel, what to do. Maybe your thinking isn't so clear because, you know, when water settles, dirt rises to the top. And that's also what's happening to many of us, whether it's health, finance, relationship, or mental issues. Stuff is just coming to the surface as a result of the fact that we're not as distracted as we were before the pandemic. Just imagine, distracted. Not being able to really keep your focus and focus on what's really important and what matters the most. Today's sharing is about clear thinking, you know, a clean, clear, and calm mind. And the first image that came into my awareness was a glass of water, and I actually wanted to bring to you a glass of dirty water and a glass of clean water. I remembered when I was a young girl, Sister Gita used to teach the Raja Yoga meditation lessons, which is what the Brahma Kumaris offers as their philosophy in their foundation course. And she always told the story that what meditation and yoga really is that when you come into it, the water is sort of mucky and dirty. But you keep pouring in knowledge and power and light and love, and then it eventually becomes clean. And what's interesting, when you look at a glass of dirty water, think about it each time you have a thought of waste, jealousy, fear, anxiety, you're kind of giving up on yourself. You don't feel pretty solid about who you are and where you are. You're kind of uncertain. And to what extent is that water if your mind, that inner space, is no longer clear? It's just not clear. Have you ever had those moments where you just felt so foggy? Like you don't know if you're coming or you're going, if you're up or you're down, or if you're in or you're out, and it's kind of weird, isn't it? How to develop clean and clear and calm thinking during a pandemic, when everything on the news is all about the hell of the times and who's creating chaos. Yeah. Right now, major news stations are so supported by so much money that the money that's invested in basically deciding what stories to cover are basically stories to keep us at a low vibration, to play on our fear factor, to play on our insecurities, to play on the muck of the mind, you know, the lack of clarity in the mind. It's an incredible time, isn't it? You ever looked at a mirror that's absolutely clean and clear, and you can see yourself so beautifully? Or look through a window when there's no smudge, and then you can see very clearly. Versus when you look through a window when there's been a rainstorm and the drops of the rain are on the window, or maybe it's been the winter time and, you know, the snow falls on the window and covers up parts of it, or maybe just as summer comes, the wind's blowing, dust is there, and the windows get all murky with dust and rain. Then you can't even see. Have you ever felt that way about yourself? It's like when you go inside, you can't see you. You see parts of you, but you don't see all of you. And the wish is to be able to see yourself so clearly and in such a solid way that whatever thoughts you choose to think or choices you choose to make are connected to that. A lot of times we still make choices that are very unclear in terms of, is this where I really should be going? And how do I know if my choice is right? There's always this thing to check. How do you really feel when you're about to do what you're doing? And why do you do what you choose to do? If you can answer those two questions easily and clearly, you're going to be fine. Whatever's the decision, it'll be fine. Because you are clear on why you're doing it and how it's making you feel. Personally, if I've ever felt a duality in my intentions, I know it's not going to be the best. And I know it's just not going to yield me perhaps the expectation that I might be visualizing in my mind. I want it, but it doesn't come. And I might even think it's because of a person, place, thing, maybe even time. And in all reality, I've forgotten to really check what was my motive before I stepped into that decision. And that becomes really the crux of it all. If you really want to amplify or really start to practice the amplification of clear and calm thinking, always go back to your why, your motive. Can you see clearly? Was there ever a relationship that you found yourself in? And while you're in the relationship, and I need you to be very, very honest here, while you're in the relationship, you can feel like you can't see the long term in that relationship. But you intellectually and logically will force yourself to try to see that through. You will make up your own story about how you think it will work out or how you think it should work out. But if you're really deeply honest, you felt like I can't see you with me. It's not clear. There's a saying that you will never be able to become what you can't feel. Food for thought on that one. If you can feel yourself becoming a CEO, if you can feel yourself becoming an angel, if you can feel yourself becoming a deity, if you can feel yourself being a server for humanity, if you can feel you're not worthy, then that's what will happen. If you feel it, pretty much it means all the energies inside will start to show itself in the way that you're thinking. And these thoughts are connected to the building of that manifestation, of actually what you're feeling and seeing inside. It's wild. What makes this pandemic such a gift is when you turn your attention inwards and you bump into those walls in your consciousness, you are aware that there's still a lot of deep hidden memories, deep hidden attachments of the past that are actually blocking the energy to flow clearly, to move you forward in such a way like a running river down a creek. You know what I love about watching a river as it flows? Is that even if you throw debris in the river, and of course I wouldn't do that, but if you were to throw something in the river, even if you threw a rock in the river, it would go around it. The river would just flow around that rock. It wouldn't stop flowing. Clear and calm thinking has that capacity. If your marriage isn't working out, your in-laws aren't cooperating, your body isn't doing well, your relationship, something's not right, workload is not doing well. Spoke to a lot of our students and friends. Many of their contracts are ending on December 31st. I thought, how interesting that these companies would end their assignment on the 31st with the beginning of the year starting with them being jobless. Life is so unpredictable. But you have to be like flowing water, you know. You flow around it. You keep moving because we don't have an option. We have to keep moving and keep going. So what is actually clear thinking? How do we understand what are the factors involved with clear thinking? Santosh found the video today, and I thought it was a beautiful compliment to our sharing and our time together. So take down some points from this video. I think you really enjoyed immensely. I'll see you shortly.
A valuable skill that we often take for granted. It's a skill we often learn by ourselves through trial and error. If you feel like you are struggling to think clearly, the problem might be due to brain fog. There's a lot of causes for brain fog, and you can't blame it all on one cause, so this video won't be exploring that topic, but this video will be exploring how to think clearly. Our brain deals with external stimuli every day, and if it were to absorb each and every stimuli, the brain would shut down. There would be way too much information to process, and we wouldn't be able to function like that. In order to deal with this issue, the brain has filters that filter out what's important and what's not. It knows that if you're talking with someone, then the conversation is more important than what's going on around you. Although it is a great system that works, sometimes the filters work against you, especially if you're dealing with brain fog. How many times have you been thinking of something completely different from what you were currently doing? We all had that experience more times than we could count. There are times where our attention isn't directed to where it needs to be because we are not actively directing it there. So, what do we do when our brain is failing us? Obviously, the best course of action is prevention, but I will talk about prevention later. In order to think clearly when your attention isn't where it needs to be, you need to organize your thoughts and discard the unnecessary ones. It sounds simple, but it's easier said than done. You want to find some space where you can extract the information in your mind and organize them. A common method many people use to organize their thoughts is by journaling. It allows that person to get down everything that is going through their mind. However, there are many other ways to achieve the same result, such as taking a nature walk. It's up to you to find a routine that works for you to help you organize your thoughts. If you're in the middle of something and it's not an ideal time to use your routine, then just take some deep breaths and try to redirect your attention to where it needs to be. It might be simple, but that's the best course of action if you are unable to think clearly in the moment and you need to focus. With that out of the way, let's talk about prevention. We all consume a lot of information from the internet and social media. It's completely harmless, and in fact, it might even be good for you if you're using the internet to learn some stuff. The problem is that depending on how much time you spend consuming information, you might be giving your brain too much stimuli. For example, watching a YouTube video is all good and fine. You have a good time watching it, and maybe you learn something. However, when you spend 4 more hours just consuming, then your brain will feel tired and overloaded. Another example would be scrolling through Reddit. Spending some time on it is good, but when you spend too much time scrolling through, your brain won't be in the best condition. When you are consuming too much, you aren't giving yourself any space to rest and take care of yourself. I would say that not taking care of yourself is one of the biggest causes of brain fog. If you can prevent yourself from getting brain fog, then you can think clearly. So, how can we properly rest and take care of ourselves? On most days we work and then spend the rest of that time glued to our screens. When you think of resting, you might think of working less and spending more time doing the things you do in your free time. What you need to know is that there are much better ways to rest and take care of yourself. If you're not getting enough sleep, then you need to get some more sleep with the time you just got from working less. Getting some more sleep might just be what your body needs to be back in peak condition. If your health is not in a good condition, you should go take some walks or maybe work out. While it sounds like you're exposing yourself to more stimuli, doing some exercise does the opposite. When you exercise, you often clear your mind and you can just focus on your own thoughts. Although your body is great at telling you what you need, a lot of us don't listen to our bodies. I think one of the reasons why is because it just doesn't seem productive to rest. Hustle culture tells us we need to grind 24/7 and work like crazy to get the success we want. We get told that putting in more hours is better, but the truth is that quality is better than quantity. Just 1 good hour can get you a lot more work done than 3 bad hours. No matter what hustle culture tells you, you need to rest and take care of yourself. This way, you won't have any problems with brain fog and you can think clearly. Have you ever struggled to think clearly?
Isn't that nice? Didn't you love that? I was just laughing with Santosh. I don't know, I don't like sleeping too much. But the balance was you shouldn't sleep too much and you shouldn't sleep too less. How do you strike that balance? Last night, I think think I got up like really, really early. It was like about 12:30 in the morning. And Sister Gita was also awake. And I went to her room, spent some time with her. We talked a little bit, rubbed her back. I said, well, I'm really wide awake. And believe this or not, everybody, I made a cup of coffee. And let me tell you, my mind was so clear. I can't begin to tell you. I was ready to take over the world at 1 o'clock in the morning, but everybody was asleep. So I didn't quite know what to do. So anyway, after a while, we did a few things. I sorted out her room, and then I went into Baba's room and sat for a few hours. Then Sister Lakshmi came in Baba's room, and then sat for a little bit. Then I said, let me go lay down. So then I laid down, and I woke back up, and then I went out for my morning appointment. We came back in, did breakfast, continued the day, took it a little bit easy today. And my mind was really super clear. And one of the things, and a few things that I wanted to share that we've been percolating on while we've been here is that every day we're creating our kind of food for thought, you know. And what we're doing is really talking about what is that thought that we want to serve for the day, and how can we support each other by putting that energy of that thought as well. Yesterday, Sister Gita doesn't know this, but the three of us had planned to just keep sending her lots of love every hour in the hour, just spreading powerful vibrations of love. As they say, love cures everything. And I'm not saying that, you know, I thought that any magical things happened, but I have to say she just seemed so much more happier and so much more lighter. But she was seeming like that even before we were sending the love. So I think that maybe it even accentuated. And as she continues to show us how she's making the impossible possible by navigating her life with all the stuff that's going on in her mind, it's quite commendable. And so what do you do? What can you do with your life if your head is clear, if your mind is calm? I mean, our thoughts, the way they're to work is that they're supposed to connect, like in sync with each other. And if they're more like the stars in the galaxy and you're connecting them like this, then it becomes really, really hard to be able to really see you, because there are way too many loose ends, you know. They're not connected. One of the things that I suggested you do is really, in whatever way you can, try to anchor yourself in God's company, in God's remembrance. Because whenever the soul stays connected in the connection of the divine energy, I'm not talking about a religious energy. I'm not talking about connecting yourself to your Christianity, your Buddhism, your Islam, or your Hinduism. I'm talking about creating the question, what does it feel like to be filled with love and peace and purity and bliss? Just to ask yourself that question. Because even when you ask that question, you're calling the energy of the divine into you, which is love, peace, purity, happiness. We've gotten so distracted in interpreting God as a physical thing or a ritualistic thing or a religious thing, when in all reality, it's love. And if you can fiercely love your way through all the attachments of the traumas that are sitting in you, whether it's of this birth or the ones of the past, then you would have figured out the power of a clear mind, clear thinking, a clear way of being. I want to, continue with the whole analogy of using water. And just to let you know, your potential, if your mind is clean and clear, what it can do for your destiny. How a clean and clear mind can amplify your financial situation, Your relationships become better because people can feel a sense of trust in you, because you feel clean, you feel clear. There isn't a doubt about you, and so they will invest in you in a second. That's such a powerful thing for me to think about. And so when your thinking is clean and your thinking is clear and it is calm, then your body loves you for that. The cells of your body will love you for that. Now think about the opportunities that will find you as you're vibrating that level of consciousness. Just take a moment. Clear thinking will definitely come from the energy of the soul being rooted in the love of the divine, the purity of the divine, the peace of the divine, even the wisdom of the divine. Let's say for now, just for example, I invite you to disconnect just from here for a moment and just go behind your eyes and invite the interpretation or the feeling of God's love flowing through you 100%. And just for that moment, I bet everything for you cleared up. You remember when back in the days when we would have a million things that we were juggling, and maybe some people come and are asking a decision from you and you're like, wait, give me a second, be quiet, I need to think. That's how powerful silence is. Silence is connected to remembrance of the divine. I don't know, it feels like we keep chasing after an illusion. And the more we chase after illusions, the more cluttered we become, because we pick up debris along the way. We pick up because we're uncertain, then we create uncertain scenarios and in certain situations, which actually make things worse. And if there isn't enough wisdom, we just don't know how to get out of it. And instead of being honest with ourselves, we continue to lie. Go, nope, not going to do it. To discern what is truth from an illusion. What is a mind that has integrity and principle and purity? What would it be like to be a human being who simply just inspires by the mere fact of just the way you show up in life? You're not trying too hard. You're not putting on extra. You just are that. And everything else follows as a result. You're clean, inside out. Your principles are very clear to you. And it doesn't matter even how bad you think you want it, you will not break your principles. Because if what you want means a compromise of your principles, your conscience, your soul will feel it, and you will stop being clear. Because once you turn your back on your greatest asset, you, your thoughts, your conscience, and you go into denial, it collects debris. It's sort of like old food when you put it out in the sun, then flies and all these things come around it. You have to travel to developing countries to know what I'm saying. But it attracts waste. And just nothing works when we're in that mental state of thinking from the limitation of the color of my skin, the religion that I'm attached to. I don't know what it was in my karmic energy that karmically brought me into a family that's half Hindu, half Roman Catholic, and I chose the path of spirituality and ended up with neither one of them. And it's not that any of them were better or less. They were basically the choice. But I have to say that seeing both of them, I was able to discern that sometimes you just get so trapped in the context of a religion that you feel that your superiority or your power comes from the ideology or the attachment of the religion, but not of the principles. Not from the principles of what the prophet left behind. And I feel that's where spirituality plays such a big role. Spirituality isn't caught up in the dogma. Spirituality isn't caught up in the rituals. Spirituality isn't caught up in the hearsay and the sheesh saying what they did and didn't do in history. Spirituality is about, are you clean inside? Are your principles firm? Is your mind pure? Is your heart clean? And I completely agree that when the spirit can reach that place of such integrity, nobility, honesty, self-trust, and dignity, there's hope for a golden aged world. There is hope that the future will be a society of golden aged people, folks who would emanate the qualities of a deity. We were laughing the other day because we were saying, did you ever imagine that perhaps the soul that is in your body right now was once upon a time a deity soul? And if you're from the Indian heritage, you understand how absolutely high and revered of a person that is, that you might sense to yourself, oh my gosh, how audacious of them to even think that they were once a deity. I think the point for me is not that is the ego or bravery of me thinking that I was once a deity, but when I actually thought about it, and this was a signal from Baba for many of us that study in the Brahma Kumaris, it was a signal that once upon a time you were that. But what has happened to you? What is going on? Where did you lose your way? Where did your thinking become so human that you actually stopped being the light that you really are? Interesting, isn't it? Food for thought for today. Are you clean? Are you clear? In your motives, in your feelings, in your attitude, in your behavior, with your relationships? Are your thoughts filled with benevolence, gentleness, kindness, love? I came across the charity water. It's a wonderful organization that we support, and I wanted to connect the story about what happens when we don't invest in ourselves. I want you to take it from that perspective. When you don't invest in yourself, in clearing up your own pollution, how much is lost as a result of that? Whether it's opportunity, whether it's my ability to gain more insights, understanding, wisdom, love, power, abundance, community, family, growth, expansion, whatever it might be. Versus if I somehow look at, if I invest in the clarification of me and my worth, and I develop the ability to discern what is a truth from what is an illusion. Who am I? Who do I belong to? Where am I from? And if my answers can be, I am God's child, I'm a soul, I come from the world of light, I am pure, I am peace, then imagine how the life would flourish around you. So I thought this video was really important. Yes, it has a social issue. It's a huge social message about our role with water, but how important water is where our lives are concerned. And it's the same importance that our thoughts have in our lives. So how important are the flow of these thoughts in our consciousness that will determine our breath, our fortitude, our light, our growth, or our lack thereof. Enjoy this video.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Seriously, a crisis. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. It's happening all over the world, especially in developing areas of sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. It's a water crisis because it starts with water. But water affects everything. Education, health, poverty, and especially women and children. Let's look at a family caught in the water crisis. It's likely they live on less than $1 a day. When they're thirsty, they can't just turn on the faucet for a nice cold glass of water. They don't have a faucet. Instead, the women and children go off to collect water. Many walk up to 3 hours a day to the nearest swamp, pond, or river to gather water that's been sitting out in the open, exposed to all kinds of germs. Time spent gathering water is time they can't spend learning to read, write, earn an income, or take care of their family. Some women in sub-Saharan Africa spend more time collecting water than any other activity they do in the day. And the walk isn't just hard, it's dangerous. The women are alone and burdened with 40 pounds of water. Many get hurt. Sometimes they're even attacked. When they make it home, the little water they've collected isn't clean. Some families know their water is contaminated with germs that cause diarrhea, dehydration, even death. But what choice do they have? Kids, especially babies, are affected most by these germs. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. And each day, almost 1 billion people are living this way. Until they get a little help. The water crisis is solvable. There are solutions. Some are brand new and innovative, like water filtration systems. Some are age-old, like drilled or hand-dug wells. These solutions bring clean water much closer to the people who need it. A safe water project near a village restores hours each day to a person's life. This time, it's opportunity. It's freedom to go to school and get an education, to work or start a business, to raise a family. Africa alone could save 40 billion hours each year. That's the entire annual workforce of France. Clean water means less disease. That's less money spent on medicine, which means more money for books and school uniforms. And if the water project is built near a school, it can increase attendance, especially among young girls. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. And this will mean more than clean water. Because water changes everything. Join us.
We're looking at it physically as water issues, but imagine just even $20 can help some village around town. And one of the things I love about the way we support some of these charities is because for me, I'm thinking more at the spiritual level. It's not easy to think positively when physically things aren't going so well. Imagine you have to walk for hours with water. And I'm not quite sure why I tend to be a stickler when I see water being wasted, that it might be some past birth thing, but I also think about those 1 billion people who don't go to bed with proper drinking water. And I am so conscious about that. And I believe the reason why is because of the clear thinking, clear attitude. Do you see all these problems that you see in the world right now? It can be solved. Every situation that you're witnessing in the world right now, starting from your own home, with your teenagers, with your spouse, with your mother-in-law, with your partner, with your friend, with your roommates, with your next-door neighbor, with your city, with your government, with your town, with your country. It can all be solved, and it just needs to be solved with the power of a clean and clear thought. And what has made everything in the world so complex, and it gets to me each time I think about it even more and more, that we don't have to suffer. We don't have to see kids going to bed hungry or thirsty for a drop of clean water. We don't have to allow another woman to be abused. It's all because our thinking isn't clean. Remember the diagram that Santosh had placed earlier about that dirty glass of water? Imagine 7 billion souls walking around like that in consciousness. But each of these glasses of water, each of these souls thirst for clarity and cleanliness and purity. And all they need is to see samples of it. Because if all you've ever been around and if all you've ever drank is dirty water, then you think that that's all you deserve. But when you start to find people in your life that are pure, that are good, that are positive, that are noble, that are principle-based, they become instruments to show you there is another way. We can go down whatever path we need to learn. A mother will allow her child to go through the ins and outs, the ups and downs of life, but every time she looks at her child, she'll say, he'll come around, she'll come around, because sometimes a part of the journey is to step into that muck. It's to step into that dirty, slimy stuff, only to realize that really the most beautiful thing in life is purity. And when you are pure in your consciousness, which actually comes from keeping the energy of the divine as your source of inspiration, your source of all your relationships, you start to value the power of purity. It becomes a natural fragrance. It's simple, it's gentle, it's strong, it's transformative, it is unlimited, it is abundant, it's invitational, it is foundational, it is creative, it is opened, and it is certainly, most definitely, very honest. All right. Is everybody ready for a meditation? I hope everyone's enjoying tonight's session on clean, clear, and calm thinking. I know I am. I am. We've been talking a lot about it in the house. It's just the importance of getting rid of all these past issues. Baba had said in our advanced classes known as the Murli, he says, even if you remember your past, it is still impurity. Whether it's good or bad, it is impurity. Why? Because the law of the universe requires you to be present here and now. And that is essential. So let's take a deep breath and become very, very present in the here and now. And I want you to just go inwards behind your eyes and allow the invitation of God's love and God's light to visit you, and just to really give you signals as to what your next move is. Take a deep breath.
The principle to focus and to flow. If we look at the sun and the earth, we realize a basic and fundamental law of function which we as human beings can learn from, and which is of utmost help in the right movement of life. The sun, through light, gives life to the earth. The sun is fixed in its position, and it has to be. Otherwise, the Earth and all the other planets of our solar system could not continue in their rhythmic, harmonious orbit. There would be chaos, upheaval, and great damage. The Earth, on the other hand, is constantly moving in repetitive cycles around the sun. Movement allows for change and expression, which has a beginning, middle, and end. In other words, the phenomenon of time is created by the Earth's balanced and harmonious cyclic rhythms. Both are necessary for life. The Earth has all the potential for life, but without the light from the fixed source, there would be no life. In the same way, the sun has the power to give life, but if the moving Earth did not hold the potential, even with light, there would be no manifestation of life. In certain situations and moments, we need focus, a concentration of thought, will, and understanding. These three need to be together in one focused point if we are to reach depth and newness. But if we become over-focused, then gradually rigidity and pressure set in. This leads to an imbalance that makes us lose creativity and openness for a new vision. What we find in focus needs at one point to flow naturally, appropriately, and systematically into our life. In focus, we find the vision, the inspiration, the understanding, and in the flow, we find the expression, the experimentation, the experience. And just as overfocus becomes negative, so does overflowing. When there is overflow, we get lost in a flood of overthinking, overspeaking, and overdoing. Then there's no direction that guides the expression. Things become vague and fragile. At such a point, we need to recognize that it is time for focus, time to go inside, time to be silent. According to necessity, the human being needs to move between focus and flow, and only one's discernment can know when and how to do this. Everything has its time.
Beautiful, huh? Beautiful images, beautiful meditation. Your thinking has become clearer, I hope. Let me see who are all of our wonderful friends online. Everyone's having a good time tonight? Yes? Okay, let's see. Denise, Om Shanti, I'm enjoying it so much. George, I think it's Damien. Wow, we should be so grateful, showering daily, drinking water at any moment. Sometimes I wish I had the power to change that. The ones that ruled us, they have studies, but they lack heart and wisdom. Alison Jordan, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Happy to have you all here. Denise S. Watson Smita from India, Om Shanti. Ranjuben, Om Shanti. Minakshi, Susanna, Divyani, Om Shanti. Kailash Ben and Yesvi, Jennifer Scotland, Carlene, welcome. I don't know if we've seen you here before, but warm welcome to the tribe. Please let us know who you are. Mary Kohler, welcome. Nancy O'Neill. I have to shout out to all of those who've been joining the advanced classes on Sundays. I hope you've been enjoying them immensely because I really carved out that time for us to be together. And Ruby, I think you're also on, and Parveen and all of you. But I have to tell you that I look forward to our, almost 2 hours together. I know I have to cut that down, but I don't have a clock, and that's why I keep going on. But for me, when I show up with you, it is intentional to build an energy in you and a foundation of energy in you that you will stand strong in your life. And that's why I've really carved out that time and really am preparing you for getting you into the world of Baba's light and to be able to have you go deeper into Baba's knowledge where you stand alone between you and God together as the Shakti. I came up with a new quote this morning when I was making coffee at 1 o'clock this morning. And somehow I was just having a thought about couples and families, and we were saying how behind every successful man, they say, is a good woman. So I was talking to Baba while I'm making the coffee, and I go, well, what's behind every successful woman? And Baba said, God. And I went, yeah, that makes sense. That really made sense, didn't it? Wonderful. All right, so anyone has any thoughts they would like to share, any questions that they might have from tonight's session? Hello, Wilma from Bogota. ¿Cómo estás, mi amore? Om Shanti. Neelam Sharma, Om Shanti. Nice to have you. Nice to have you. Denise, I know you're on. And just thinking about everyone, making sure that you're all okay. Any questions about today's sharing? Anything on your mind? Vashti, Om Shanti, give my love to Mom. Hopefully I know she's well. Nikki Wallace, nice to have you in the tribe of the next normal. Sonia. Blessilla Delphin, that's a wonderful name. Louise, Om Shanti. Felicia Milla, you needed this. So did I, Felicia. Arlene, welcome. Always nice to have you. Sudha Gundrania, wonderful. Damon, Om Shanti Daman. Everyone, Diamond's one of our very close and dear friends. Bimla Multani, Om Shanti, my sweet sister. Welcome to the tribe. Hope you and your family are doing well and everything is absolutely awesome for you. Why? Because that's what you wish to ordain in your life. How to make things absolutely awesome. So Denise, you're enjoying it. You're enjoying it immensely. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Good. Hi, Kirti Ben. Oh, everybody, Kirti Ben, who is one of our very, very special sisters, has been taking care of her son, who has been going through quite a lot of challenges of late. And it will be so nice if we collectively hold her up. So many times we send vibrations to who we think is not well, who we think is going through the hardship, but we never think about the caregivers, the folks who are trying to care for the ones who can no longer care for themselves. And one of the most challenging karmic opportunities that we can ever encounter is when a loved one isn't able to be clear in their thinking. And we have to help them. And even despite whatever help we give them, sometimes they're so stubborn that they don't want any help. At least they think they don't. But deep, 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 deep down, they so appreciate the fact that we're there for them. I know that with all my heart. So we'll hold you up, Kirti. I know it's been an interesting, sweet challenge for you, my sweet sister. I know it's been tough. And even though you know that that's just the role that each of us are playing, all souls, whether it's your son, your daughter, your auntie, your uncle, your sister, the fact that we naturally have attachment weaved in our consciousness, it really makes it hard. And it's really an invitation to put Baba so deeply into your heart that you can love through this very dark period of having to try to uplift somebody that matters so much to you. So whatever is that challenge, that we put that depth of love, that fierceness of love, to break away from the attachment of what it isn't turning out to be. When we have a particular plan in life and it gives us something else, our thinking can become so polluted, it's not even funny. But if we use the power of God's love, it can find and it can create a clear path for us. So let's take a few moments, everyone, and hold up our sweet sister Kirti, just for a few moments, sending our absolute pure wishes and pure vibrations that as a mother, she'll be able to handle this. And will continue to recognize her role as the pillar for the family. And even though what she has to juggle with and see is beyond her control, but that her love flows through her, and that God's love and light is holding her up and is giving her clarity, making her objective, and giving her the strength to see this particular moment through. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on The Next Normal. Stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hi, everyone. It's Sister Jenna from America Meditating Radio. I hope you've been enjoying Wise-ish, which you can get live on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. But you can also get it on demand 24/7. It's going to be your power boost for the morning. It's your daily dose for the soul. It's just going to encourage you to make the day that much more valuable. So join us. Looking forward to seeing you.
This healing day. my wonderful friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant.